From yesterday. So yesterday we talked about Sue the T-Rex, the world's largest and most complete Tyrannosaurus specimen ever discovered. I'm curious to know, what was the most memorable thing about yesterday's Sue discussion? Was it how Sue was found, the science and stats that make Sue special, how much the Field Museum paid at auction for Sue, or Sue as a Twitter icon? Which was the most memorable thing from yesterday's Sue discussion?
Fill me in. I had such FOMO about missing this day.
Well, Sue was found in 1992 by Sue Hendrickson in South Dakota. The science and stats that make Sue special: 90% complete by weight. We learned a lot about the pathologies in the jaw, the parasitic infection. We got gastralia, super duper bite force. The Field Museum paid over $8 million at auction for Sue. And Sue is also a Twitter icon. We all know that.
We know that for sure.
So only 77% of people have voted so far. Sarah, you were not here yesterday.
I wasn't.
I know, that's fine. You have things to do. Of these options, what are you choosing?
I mean, I really, really like Sue as a Twitter icon, generally speaking. So that's what I would predict.
Okay. That is coming in 3rd out of 4 here, actually. We're going to end the poll here. I'm going to share the results. So the science and stats that make Sue special were 40% of your favorite, most memorable thing. 33% said how Sue was found. 19% of Sue as a Twitter icon. Cool. I wonder if Sue is watching under some pseudonym. Hey, how have I never thought of that? Anyway, all right. Let's get this ball rolling. You guys, I'm excited you're here. It is Wednesday, May 13th. Today is day number 48 in a row of Dino 101. We only have 2 more days until we take, I'm going to say that we retire, but, you know, much like Jordan, maybe we'll go play baseball for a few weeks and then come back. We don't know. Tomorrow, we're going to do a mailbag, which basically means all of your questions and comments and thoughts and queries and topics we didn't hit. Send those to Kristina today. We're going to compile those, and we're going to go through all the stuff you want to talk about tomorrow that we have somehow not hit in the last 48 days. And then on Friday, we're going to do a legit commencement graduation ceremony, as well as a review of all of our glossary of terms, including, again, bean water, murder banana, and speculative gobble-gobbleness. So you're going to want to be here on Friday for that. Before I introduce our special guest of the day, we have a Dino of the day per usual. And today's is, I can't believe we haven't had Iguanodon. It's Iguanodon. The reason why we're doing Iguanodon is because the diagnostic feature that a lot of people recognize and remember are its thumb spikes, which we originally had on its nose, but they're actually on the thumb. And I say this because in a minute, our special guestpert is going to play Dino or not a Dino, and is going to need some thumb spikes up or thumb spikes down help from you guys to identify the dinosaurs. Iguanodon, this is about the size. Here's another image of it. Like them a lot. Again, Iguanodon was one of the 3 dinosaurs used by Sir Richard Owen way back in the 1840s to first coin the term Dinosauria, the group that we now know as dinosaurs. Iguanodon, Megalosaurus, and Hylaeosaurus were the 3. So shouts to Iguanodon for getting the ball started, and shouts to Sarah McAnulty for joining us today. Where are you zooming in from?
I'm zooming from Philadelphia, the greatest city in the world.
The greatest city in, all right, well, if you're from Philly.
The greatest city in Pennsylvania.
That's fair. I like Philly a lot.
No,
I'm not going to say the greatest city in the world, though. That seems a little.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. You know what? You can prove its worth by winning Dino or not a Dino. How about that?
Okay, I'll do my best.
So you, Sarah, you joined a very special group of people that include just you and my mom, who have played Dino or not a Dino more than once. So this will be your go round at Dino or not a Dino. Do you remember if you won or how you did last time?
I just don't remember, but
our memories are short.
I'm sure it was fine. Yeah. It wasn't completely embarrassing. I'll say that because I would remember that.
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I apparently have been making it too easy. So I tried to make this one a little more challenging for you.
Okay.
Look in the chat for Iguanodon, thumbs up or thumbs down if you need help. I'm going to read you the name of 10 animals, some of which are dinosaurs, some of which are not dinosaurs. You just tell us if it's a dino or not.
Okay.
If you need a spelling, if you think that's going to help, I'm happy to spell it as well. You just got to get 6 out of 10. Just like when you defended your PhD, you just got to get a D-.
Just got to get 6 out of 10. Great.
Okay. Are you ready to play?
So ready.
All right, let's dig in. Animal number 1, ovinator.
Not a dinosaur.
Oh, wow, a quick not a dinosaur. Are you yeah, you're going no?
That's what I'm going. I don't know. It sounds
Wow.
made up.
I love the confidence you're bringing, but you are correct. That is not a dinosaur.
Okay.
So you are 1 for 1. Well done. I will also mention there is both a theme for the dinosaurs and for the not dinosaurs today. So just bonus points if you can figure those out. Animal number 2, Minotaurosaurus.
Okay, so the Minotaur is obviously a mythological creature.
Fact.
That's a bull and not a dinosaur. And it sounds made up, but some academics are pretentious and may want to pretend that they know a lot about Greek mythology. So this makes this what I would call a toss-up, but I'm going to say not a dinosaur?
You're going to say not a dinosaur. Nope, it is. You are now 1 for 1. I'm sorry.
Shit.
I also
Okay.
noticed that our go-to, Martin, is not here today to lend a hand on these. So you're going to have to figure out who. Oh, wait, I see Martin. Maybe he is here. Find Martin. He might be helpful. Number 3, Vodonicus. Vodonicus.
Dinosaur.
Vodonicus is not a dinosaur. I did make these hard.
Shit. Okay. Oh wait, this is for children.
This is
Darn.
one of
Sorry,
two.
everybody.
Number 4, Tarchia. Tarchia.
That sounds like a heart condition.
It does sound like a heart condition. You're right.
Not a dinosaur? You think it is a dinosaur, Megan? No one else is giving me thumbs up and thumbs down. I'm getting no support.
Where's your wanted on help?
You think it is. You think it is. You think it is. Say it again.
Say it again.
Tarchia.
Tarchia?
I can spell these, remember.
I think no.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, fine. It's my final answer.
Congratulations, you've missed 3 in a row. So now that is a dinosaur. Tarchia is a dinosaur. You're 1 in 3. There's
That's a
plenty of
ridiculous
time
name.
to come back.
I doubt it. Okay, keep going.
Schweodon.
I don't know, folks. What do you think? I'm Schweodon?
Schweodon. I see a lot of
now this sounds like something that came out of Wayne's World, personally.
It's
so I'm going to say no.
You were correct. Schweodon is not a dinosaur.
Thank God.
Gotten
Okay.
2 right, 3 wrong.
Not doing so hot. Okay.
Horshimosaurus. Horshimosaurus.
Horshimosaurus. It was found in the English town of Horsham.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
Well, no, I mean it is. It is a dinosaur. I don't know if that's
well, I know of a place around here. We've got Horsham. That's a place.
Oh, okay. Context.
So I'm going to say a place that they found this Asaurus.
Okay, you were correct. That is a dinosaur. You're back to 50%. 3 and 3.
Oh my God. Okay.
You got 4 more. Here we go in the home stretch. Aguarchaeolong.
I think
Aguarchaeolong. Aguarchaeolong. There we go.
Okay, so I don't think you made that word up. So that's probably a real thing.
Okay.
But is it a dinosaur or is it not a dinosaur? Can I get some thumbs?
None of these, by the way, none of these are animals that exist but aren't dinosaurs. It's either an actual dinosaur or a name I totally made up.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you made up potentially our
Aguarchaeolong. Aguarchaeolong.
Okay, I'm going to say it is a dinosaur.
That is incorrect, Sarah. You have missed 4 now. You have to get the last 3 correct to get 6 out of 10. And if you don't, we just kick you out of the Zoom room. So here we go.
Okay.
Let me remind you of the not dinos. See if you can start to think of a theme. There was ovinator. There was Vodonicus. There was Schweodon. There was I can never say this. Aguarchaeolong. Next 3. Cedar pelta. Cedar pelta.
Yes, dinosaur.
That is a dinosaur. You're correct. You are now 4 and 4.
Thank you, Jada.
You've got 2 more. Shamosaurus.
Not a dinosaur.
Shamosaurus.
Not a dinosaur.
Not a dinosaur. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to say that's not a dinosaur?
Dustin, I don't know.
Look at Michael Partham. He is very smart when it comes to dinosaurs. What is Michael Partham saying?
You think it is a dinosaur, Michael? How okay, 100% sure, 90% sure. How sure are you?
Two iguanodon thumbs up, sure.
Fine, I guess it's a dinosaur. And if it's wrong, Michael, it's on you, buddy. Okay.
You are correct. It is a dinosaur. You are both correct. Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Way to keep you in the running. This is it. This is the last one. If you get this, you pass and you've won. Dino or not a dino. Last but not least, Proto-Wooterops. Proto-Wooterops. Proto-Wooterops.
Oh, it's not a dinosaur because you are making fun of my perfect Philadelphia accent.
You are correct. Proto-Wooterops is not a dinosaur. Neither is O, as in French for water, ovinator. Voda is Belarusian and lots of other languages for water, as well as Shui is Mandarin for water, and then Agua, Aguar, Keolong.
Oh my God.
So these were all water-based words, including wooter, which is spelled W-O-O-D-E-R if you were from Philadelphia.
That's true.
Okay, you have won the, oh, and by the way, all the actual dinosaurs, Minotaurosaurus, Tarchia, Horsemosaurus, Cedarpelta, and Chamosaurus are types of ankylosaurs, which are your favorite.
My favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Dustin. What's so special?
Oh, of course, anything for you. All right, thank you for playing. You've won the game. We're going to come back to you in a second. But today, you guys, we are talking about SciComm, or science communication, which is something that is literally happening right now on your screens and to your faces and in your brains. And so I do a lot of science communication. Sarah is one of my favorite science communicators ever. Kristina is as well. When I say science communication, I think of the branch, or I'm sorry, the umbrella term for literally anyone that is talking about or sharing science knowledge or enthusiasm, whether you're an actual science teacher, whether you share weird pictures of birds on the internet. If you are sharing something within the scientific realm and you're getting people excited and engaged about it, you are a science communicator. And so I wanted to take, and I know we had some requests for this, like how did myself, how did you, Kristina, how did Sarah, how did you guys get to where we are today doing science communication? So Kristina, I want to start with you as my esteemed co-host. Can you give us, I know you have some pictures here as well, can you give us a little bit of your biopic with respect to science communication? How did it all end up with you sitting here on this Zoom with us right now?
Well, you all got to hear from my mom that I was a dino kid from day one. I think I wanted to be a science communicator before I even realized I wanted to be a scientist. I looked at people in the media like Jeff Corwin's, Bill Nye's, for example, people who brought science into the realm of something that can be consumed by everyone, something that can be participated in by everyone. And I wanted to do that myself. I wanted to see myself there. So that's the ever since I was a little girl version of my resume. So I was also a theater kid, still am a theater kid. So as far as my background goes, I've been a performer probably longer than I've been a scientist. In college, I double majored in theater and geology. Then went to, are we doing a full rundown?
I mean, you have the pictures. Let me know when you want them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's bring up that first picture. So if we're talking about college, I did my undergrad at Occidental College in LA. This picture is definitely not in LA. I did field work in Western Ireland. This is Lasuptar, a mountain that I helped map. So look at this lonely geologist on a hill. This is not the way I wanted to do my science. I loved being there, collecting data, etc. But I realized through the course of that, and then I went to grad school in geology up in Washington State. I realized my favorite part of it was talking to people about the science. So after geology grad school, where I started out doing regular field work, I was doing some work on sea level rise locally. And then after a series of setbacks, which we can have a whole other Zoom room about someday, I switched my focus to geoscience education. and my research became on how people learn about climate science. That led me to a program at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City for people with earth science backgrounds to become earth science teachers. So this is a picture from that. This was while I was at the museum. This was a program for students over the summer, talking about dinos, living the dream. Yeah, so to get myself through grad school, through geology grad school, I interned at a museum. I ended up in grad school at another museum. I found museums as my perfect middle of the Venn diagram of quantitative and qualitative science and creativity. This is there as well. In the last year, I've become a museum hack tour guide. So that's Dustin and I met each other at the museum and then became colleagues through Museum Hack. So whether it's in a museum, a classroom, or next slide, on stage, I am who's that nerd? Talking to people about science is my absolute favorite thing to do. So I feel like a lucky little opening act for the science communicators we have on after me, Dustin and Sarah. I am a relative SciComm baby. So if any of you need someone who knows how to talk about geology, you know how to reach me.
And I'll explain a little bit more exactly like what we do at Museum Hack, as well as what this picture from whatever the heck Versus is in a little bit. But I do love that we're wearing matching dinosaur shirts here.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good times.
Cool. Thanks, Kristina. And I don't think would you just prefer not a newbie? What'd you say?
Maybe.
I think
you're not a SciComm baby if you've worked for Museum Hack. You're doing the thing.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. You're awesome.
You may be a baby in like number of years you've been doing outside of school, but like you're far advanced in like the skills department, I would say.
Like a baby Yoda.
You are. I have referred to you before as my baby Yoda, and I don't know if that's nice or not. I don't know. Anyway.
It's perfectly diminutive.
Okay. Kristina, I have a poll that involves you after I sneeze. All right. We've talked about, Kristina, we've talked about your favorite dinosaur many a time on this show. What is it again? Remind everyone.
Patagotitan.
Patagotitan, or the Titanosaur. So everyone knows the Titanosaur is your favorite dinosaur. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been hanging out with Kristina for nearly 50 days straight. If you had to guess, based on what she has said and her personality, what is her second favorite dinosaur? Is it Edmontosaurus, duck-billed hadrosaur, Styracosaurus, the spiky boy related to Triceratops, Velociraptor, or Pteranodon? I'll tell you right now, Pteranodon is not a dinosaur, so that is not the right answer.
Hasn't even gotten any votes because these people know.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. It looks like Styracosaurus is suddenly beating Edmontosaurus. Velociraptor coming in third right now. I love that there are no votes for Pteranodon because that is not a dinosaur. Look at you, smart kiddos. We got 77% of the votes in, 78% of the votes, 79%. Let's hit 80. All right. I'm ending this poll. It appears as though everyone thinks Styracosaurus. 50% of us think Styracosaurus is your second favorite dinosaur. Kristina, can you tell us your second favorite dinosaur and why?
I think that was swayed by Spiky Boy, which is one of my favorite phrases. But my second favorite dinosaur is Edmontosaurus.
Why?
Hadrosaurs are so cool. They're like big old duck boys.
Yeah.
And we have an Edmontosaurus at AMNH, and I love the way it's displayed. Like as you walk through the fossil hall, it just towers above you, and it's such an immersive. Like I feel what it's like to walk next to this crazy thing.
I love that. It's that whole mock-up of the mount of the two of them next to each other is based off of a Charles Knight old paleo art painting, which is very cool. Awesome, Sarah. Thank you for wow, Kristina, thank you for sharing.
Sarah's awesome too.
Sarah, you're awesome too. Great segue to Sarah. So Sarah, hi.
Hi.
So Sarah, how long have you and I known each other now?
3 years?
That's about fair. So I didn't actually know you when you were this old. Share screen. There we go. Sarah, I'm going to let you take it away because I'm curious because I don't know a ton about your SciComm journey because I've only known you for the last couple of years. So I've known you through Science Twitter, through Versus, through Skype a Scientist. I didn't know you back here. How did you get all the way up to being in the Dino 101 Zoom room as a science communicator?
Yeah, so I've been super into science and animals since I was a little kid. I remember, like, you know, okay, so first I was into dinosaurs, I'll be honest. And then I was about 8 years old and I watched a video on the ocean and cuttlefish were introduced. And I immediately changed camps over to Team Squid, the correct team, FYI. And so I generally was always trying to teach people about the cool stuff I was learning, not because I was really thinking about teaching them. I just wanted to share all the cool stuff I learned. And so, yeah, what that picture of me in the Venus flytrap was just the only picture I could really find of myself from when I was high school-ish aged. But yeah, I had a group of friends that were all a bunch of dorks like me that liked learning about science. They mostly liked learning about humans, but I liked learning about animals in the ocean and everything like that. And then I went to college, where I went from a little extra to even extra-er. I had a bunch of octopuses in the lab. That was when I was taking care of them in their little flower pots. This was when I was a junior in college. I talked about cephalopods all the time. I wanted everybody to share my excitement about them. And so I thought I would just be a scientist, and I thought that that's what scientists did. I didn't really think about what is normal for college students and scientists in terms of how much they're sharing their stuff, but it just felt natural to me. In the next picture, I'm on a boat at the MBL in Woods Hole, where I was doing work on squid and cuttlefish. And so in my left hand, you see a squid, and in my right hand, you see a spider crab. And I was just like so happy to be immersed in everything that I always wanted to do. And so I continued wanting to share that whenever I could. And then the next picture, I'm collecting shrimp to feed to my cuttlefish because they really like shrimp as a treat in the lab. And then I went to grad school. In grad school, I was working with Hawaiian bobtail squid. And here I was in Japan trying to collect squid eggs from the seagrass beds in Okinawa. And I just love being in the ocean and talking about squid. And so this is back at the MBL again. I was in Woods Hole collecting squid from the dock, trying to find squid wherever I can, and sharing information about them is just my scene. And yeah, so I started Skype a Scientist when I was in grad school, and continued trying to connect people with squid and science whenever I could. I started it in 2017, and now it's grown to this like 10,000 classroom a year behemoth. Whenever I'm out in the field and doing science, even if it's like, I didn't mean to catch that crab, like I just want to share what being a scientist looks like while I'm doing it whenever possible, and making people feel like science is welcoming and friendly and there for them. In the next picture, I had a big block of dead squid that I was using. I don't know why I had such a huge block of dead squid actually, but I'm sure it was for some scientific reason. And yeah, eventually, Dustin, I met you from Science Twitter, and Zach, and I got involved with Caveat, which is in New York, a really, really awesome venue that does a lot of like what they brand as intelligent nightlife, which I just love so much, and continued kind of sharing stuff on Twitter and via Skype the Scientist and on podcasts. And then this past fall, so August 2019, I graduated with my PhD. I then I was doing Skype a Scientist full time, touring the country, talking to a bunch of different scientists about science communication and how we can do it more effectively and how we can reach audiences that we kind of suck at reaching. And in the process, I got to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff in various labs around the country. And so this was a Gila monster in a jar, and I was just like, so that was the first Gila monster I'd seen in person, even if it was in a jar. And I was very excited about that. And just generally, I'm trying to put a face to science that's friendly and welcoming, and that's my goal, to help other scientists do that as well.
And for Skype a Scientist, how many classrooms? It boggles my mind. How many classrooms again have now linked up with a scientist?
It's like almost 30,000 in the last 4 years. In 2019, we served 9,830-ish. And then this year, 2020, we've matched about 6,000 scientists with classrooms.
Kristina, can you drop a link to Skype a Scientist in the chat? Because I know, Sarah, if you're a scientist, it's really easy to sign up, so you can get linked with classrooms that you can share your research with, as well as if you want to support Skype a Scientist through like Patreon or whatever. I do that. That's a great, I mean, it's such an easy, great way to help scientists share their science with classrooms all over the world. And I can't think of a better, more fun thing to do for 20 to 30 minutes for the classroom than that. I've done it a bunch. It's a ton of fun. The questions you get from like 4th graders, chef's kiss.
They're really good. And if you are at home with your family and you want to talk to somebody who studies whatever, be it like sharks, manta rays, rocks, whatever, sign up for Skype a Scientist, because right now during the pandemic, we're allowing pretty much anybody to sign up for a session. We've got like thousands of scientists just waiting to talk to people. So do not hesitate to sign up if you're a family at home. All that we ask is that there be an adult present with an under 18-year-old person when you're chatting about science. But it is free. We are ready to go. Like, please take advantage of the program. We are here for you.
And it's not like you're just like, I want to talk to a scientist and they link you up. You can choose what field you want your classroom or your kiddos to hear about. So if you're a 4th grade teacher and you're doing a unit on botany, you can talk to an arborist. If you're doing a unit on squids, you can talk to a squid scientist, which is really cool. So Sarah, I have some more just general SciComm, like what makes for good SciComm, what is your philosophy behind SciComm questions, but I want to go quickly through my SciComm story because I know people are curious about that as well. So let's see. Here we go. I'm going to start here with this photo. Hey guys, look, it's me as little Dustin. I wanted to bring this up because first of all, I already had the short, tall sock fashion game on lock. I am wearing a marine mammal t-shirt here as well, and I'm riding a dinosaur. I was not a huge dinosaur kid. I mean, I like dinosaurs as much as the next kid. I fell back in love with them, especially as like a teaching tool when I worked at the American Museum of Natural History, which we'll get to in a little bit. I was like, last night I was like, Mom, can you send me some old pictures so I can kind of like flesh out my history? And she did not disappoint. Grace is gonna be upset she didn't see this. Here we go. How you guys feeling about these? Yeah. This is, I don't know how old I am on the left. The right is sometime in late high school. And in high school, my favorite class was science. I had no idea what I wanted to go into or what I wanted to do. I played a lot of soccer, so I was mostly focused on playing soccer. Although I always got great grades and I love science, probably because I had a great, really fun, engaging science teacher in high school. Kristina's covering her face. I think she just saw the screen.
Yeah, I was finding the Skype a Scientist link, and then there are braids on my screen.
There are braids. This is, and on the right, that's dangerously close to a puka shell necklace, but we'll leave it there. So this is, on the right, that's high school, and now we're moving into college where I majored in anthropology. That was my 3rd major. First was poli-sci, and then it was communications, and then it was anthropology. And the reason being is because anthropology, first of all, study of humans, full stop, not dinosaurs, but it was because it just answers so many questions. Why do we look the way we do? Why does society function the way it does? And I'd always just been curious about our own existence. And so anthropology answered a lot of those questions. I have questions about the pants on the left here. Like, I don't even know how you get pants with legs that big. But this on the left is me in college. And on the right is the year after college when I graduated and I got a job working at COSI, which is the Center of Science and Industry here in Columbus, Ohio. It is a hands-on science center, and that was really the first time I got to be a science communicator. Our whole job was being on the floor, engaging people with the exhibits, talking about the content, and getting people ideally as excited as we were and as I was about this stuff. So that was my first stop at a science museum. So that was just after undergrad, and then I went to grad school for anthropology because, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but my dad very much valued academia, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do next, but I know that I wanted to continue studying and learning more. And so I went to school for socio-cultural anthropology at SUNY Stony Brook, which is on Long Island. And if you want to know what I looked like during grad school, well, this is me on the left singing what appears to be a death metal ballad, although my roommate and good friend Justin on the right claims this was a love song. I don't know.
Hey, yeah, wah, yeah, ooh, baby, presumably.
Exactly.
Doesn't really narrow it down.
Name that song. That would be very helpful. So that was grad school, and still I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I was in grad school for anthropology because I enjoyed studying it. I enjoyed learning more about human biological evolution as well as cultural evolution. After grad school, I got a job at the Arizona Science Center in Phoenix, Arizona, where I lived for 8 months doing similar work to what I did at COSI, which was being on the floor, being a science instructor, working with kids, families, school groups. I can't find a picture of me at the Arizona Science Center. So I'm going to show you this picture of me in Phoenix with a soccer team I joined. Who am I? Where am I? No one? No one can
Yeah,
find
I found you. I found you.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're in the upper right.
I am in the upper right, and I'm not African American, so I'll let you figure out which one I am. That is correct. So that is in Phoenix, and then I moved back to New York City, and I worked, and we talked about this earlier, I worked at Starbucks for 8 months after grad school because I couldn't get a job. I knew I wanted to live in New York City. I knew I wanted to work at the American Museum of Natural History. I worked at my neighborhood Starbucks after graduate school. And that's when I became addicted to coffee. That's how they get you. But finally, after about 6 to 7 months working there, I got a job at pretty much my dream institution, the American Museum of Natural History. And so my job in education at AMNH was to help pilot the movable museums. So when I worked there, we had 4 40-foot-long Winnebagos that had been converted into literal movable museums. This is one of them. I'm on the left here with Mr. Met and my good friend Russell, and so the 4 trucks were dinosaurs. You can see the top dinosaur one here, as well as the one on the bottom. There were 2 different ones on paleontology, one on astronomy, and then one on structures and cultures, about cultures from different parts, nomadic cultures from different parts of the world. And I bring all of these up because it was very fun to like drive a 40-foot Winnebago to neighborhoods in all 5 boroughs and corners of New York City I would never otherwise go to. But each one of these obviously had a different theme and a different topic. And we went to different types of schools and different neighborhoods and worked with different age students. And so I think that is actually a good, it's similar to working in a science center in that you have to code switch a lot, right? You have different populations with different objectives, different ages, different places. And so and different topics every single day, right? So the way in which you communicate your science about those is always different and changing, right? And so it makes you be a little more nimble, being able to like improvise a little bit more rather than being like, oh, this is my same group of students. This is my lesson plan. This is exactly how I'm going to talk about it. So it was challenging, but I think it gave me a lot of skills to be able to talk in different ways to different audiences. And we're going to come back to that in a little bit. After my job at the American Museum of Natural History, I only left that because the program got defunded and they laid off 4 of the 6 of us. I got a job, my first ever job as a straight up in the classroom science teacher. So for a year, I taught kindergarten and first grade science at Success Academy, which is a charter school in New York City. We could have a whole day arguing the benefits or the merits or the downsides of charter schools. We're not going to get into that now, but I learned a ton and had a ton of fun speaking to an age group that I will be honest, it's not my absolute favorite. I think my favorite age group to science, communicate, and talk dinos with is probably like the 4th through 8th grade area. But these kids were so young, so inquisitive, and really just reminded me of that, like, we are all scientists. Like, I don't care how old you are. If you're curious about a thing and you pick it up and you look at it, you're investigating it, you're learning about it, you're making new theories and hypotheses on it, and then you use that information moving forward because you've learned more about the world around you and you get better at navigating your own existence on this crazy planet. That's what I mean by all of us always being scientists. I worked there for a year and realized waking up at 5:45 a.m. and then working in a classroom without a window and not seeing the sun for 3 months during the winter wasn't my favorite thing. And so I got a job at the New York Hall of Science. I love this picture, by the way. Pencils are science bling, just FYI. And there I did science instruction for classes that came. So we had certain classes that they would come and they would do hands-on activities. I also taught a lot of science teacher professional development. So science teachers would come to the Hall of Science and we'd training on how to make their classroom more hands-on, more engaging, simply how to be more effective and better science communicators in their classroom. And that was a lot of fun as well, working with teachers, especially after being in a classroom for a year. I think it's really crazy when I see people doing teacher professional development that have never actually been in a classroom with 30 kids because, yeah, Kristina's got a thumbs up. action item number one is how do you behaviorally manage a classroom successfully? Because if you can't do that, I don't care what you're trying to talk about, it's not going anywhere. So this was the Hall of Science. I worked at the Hall of Science for about 3 years. And so after about 3 years at the Hall of Science, I met a guy named Nick Gray, who was doing what he called Renegade Tours at the at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So these were unsanctioned tours for millennials, frankly, like 21 to 35-year-olds. He would have these tours Friday and Saturday nights when the Met was open late. And they were like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show you 3 things I love, 3 things I want to steal, bring a flask, right? So they're they were not sanctioned all by the museum. They were definitely renegade tours. And I was like, Nick, I love what you're doing here. Why are you not doing this across the park at the American Museum of Natural History, my favorite museum in the world? And he was like, we thought about one day doing that, but I don't know anything about that type of stuff. And I was like, Nick, I want to make it happen. So at this point, 6 years ago or so, I designed what I thought was a great 2-hour museum adventure. I didn't even call them tours. I call them museum adventures at my favorite museum in the world with the single goal. Well, I guess it's not a single goal. With the goals of getting people that were my age to come to the museum. It's no secret that museums do great work for school groups and for families and for slightly older demographics bought into what we think of as a traditional museum experience. But that wasn't really appealing to the 21 to 35 demographic, my friends, my peers. So it's like, how do we get them in the door? How do we get them to love the place as much as I do? And so we designed an experience where it wasn't just a unilateral delivery of information. We made it engaging, we made it participatory, we tried to make it a lot of fun. And so here's a couple pictures from those tours. Here's one in front of this is in the Hall of African Mammals. Obviously that is a giraffe and some zebra. And so we started doing these tours. And one of the things we asked for people to do on tours is to take a lot of photos, to share them. And so people took a lot of dino selfies. And then I was like, wow, I should probably be on Instagram if I'm going to ask people to take dino selfies and upload them. And so I got an Instagram. I started using that as a way to just basically be an engaging nerd with respect to science. Sarah has come on a tour before, down in the bottom right. I started photoshopping dinosaurs into real life places. Like here's a Suchomimus at the Met. And the Instagram took off and I was like, I have a built-in platform. Maybe I should start doing stuff on YouTube. I've always wanted to make videos. I think it'd be a good mode to practice more science communication on a different modality, like to a screen, writing a script out. And so I started the YouTube channel, The Dinosaur Show. But this museum work took me to literally museums all over the world to share out what we thought made for a great, engaging, putting the fun first tour experience. We focus a lot on how you tell a great story, how do you give people more agency in these engagements you're doing within the tour, and how do you make it feel like it's a social and VIP experience. If you are putting together an experience at a zoo, a museum, a cultural institution, I implore you to focus on these 3 things. Make sure you're telling great stories, giving people agency so it doesn't feel like you're just talking at them, and how do you make it feel like a really fun social experience together as a group that feels VIP, rather than one person just talking at the group. And that took me all over the world, including to where James is right now, Australia. I got to meet weird animals I'd never heard of, like Procoptodon, this short-faced extinct kangaroo that will haunt your dreams. I also, in the side, was approached by a DK to help write a dinosaur book. I got to do that. I now do Versus, which is a debate show where we pit actual scientists against each other. I did not include a picture of Sarah because she has beat me twice in Versus now, so I refuse to show a picture of that. Sarah, the first one I lost, what did we do? What was the cats versus, what was it? What was the first one you did? Oh, squid versus whales. Squid versus whales, and you beat me there. And this was another fun modality to simply practice different types of science communication. How do we have a fun, engaging science fight? And from there, I got reached out by Atlas Obscura to lead a dinosaur trip across the state of Colorado. And I bring all these different little side things up because I had no idea really where I wanted to be going or what I wanted to be doing, especially considering a lot of these jobs or side gigs didn't exist or wouldn't have been possible 10 years ago. And so just being in the field and doing the stuff you love and making connections with people like Kristina at Animation, with Sarah through Science Twitter, allows you to get more connections and do more things, like this Dino 101 that we started here today. Now, I know that was a lot, but I wanted to get through that. I know there's going to be some questions, but before we get to questions, I want to quickly rapid fire play a game between Kristina and Sarah. because if we don't do that, I will cry because I wrote this last night and I'm very excited to play this game. Now, I say game as well because we wanted to gamify Dino 101. Not just so like we're telling you the dino information and then playing a game as a break, but how do we gamify the actual learning and the content? Much like with Dino or Not a Dino, I listed a bunch of animals that are ankylosaurs, a group that Sarah loves. So instead of just playing a game, how do you build the content into the game? We're going to come back to this, but I always want to put the engagement and entertainment first as the hook to get to the content. I think the number one rule in SciComm is you cannot assume people give a crap about what you're going to talk about. No one is going to nerd out as hard about you as you will. How do you get them in first? And so the content and the science is going to come, but you got to hook them first. And so Kristina and Sarah, we are going to play our second iteration of the pronunciation challenge / spelling bee. Here's how this is going to work. Each of you are going to have 3 dinosaurs. Sarah, I'm going to show you the name. You're going to have to pronounce it. Whereas with Kristina, I'm going to say the name and you are going to have to spell it.
Okay.
There are 3 rounds. Sarah, you are first. Let me open this up. Sarah, could you please pronounce the name of the dinosaur currently on your screen? Go.
Okay. Epidexipteryx.
Judges are going to give that to you. Good pronunciation. Sarah, you're 1 for 1. Well done. Kristina, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Kristina, the name of your dinosaur that you must pronounce is Imperobator. I'm sorry, that you must spell. Imperobator.
Can you say it again?
Imperobator. By the way, Epidexipteryx meant display feather. Imperobator means powerful warrior. Imperobator.
Imperobator.
I'm sorry, that is incorrect. Imperobator is tough. It's Imperobater. Imperobator. That was a tough one. I'm sorry, Kristina. I had to give you a hard one to start. All right. Sarah, your next one. I need you to pronounce the name of this animal. Its name means wrinkled long jaw.
That sounds like neck meat.
It does. Sarah.
Ferusricus.
You know, judges are going to give that one to you too. You're right there. Forest I think you get that. You're 2 for 2. Kristina, yikes. Kristina, here's a dino we've talked about multiple times. One of my faves, maybe the most underrated. I need you, Kristina, to spell Coelophysis.
Oh.
Spell Coelophysis.
I feel good about this.
I don't know if any of you at home are trying to help out. Please don't send her the words on chat. That would be cheating. Coelophysis, how's it spelled?
Okay. Coelophysis.
Nailed it. You've got that one right. All right. Sarah, these are going to get tougher. I need you to pronounce the name of this dinosaur.
First of all, it's so cute.
It is. I like that it's sitting down. By the way, all of the dinosaurs in this game are theropods, which are the 3-toed, primarily carnivorous, mostly feathered dinos. How do you say it?
Iguanodon.
One more time.
Iguanodon.
I can't give you that one. It's Sean Hanosaurus, not Schwan. Sean Hanosaurus. You should speak Mandarin. That would have been easier for you.
I know.
All right, Kristina, to tie this up, to go 50-50, you need to tell us how to spell Bipiosaurus. Bipiosaurus. This is Bipiosaurus. This one's really hard. I'm sorry, I had to do it to you. Bipiosaurus.
Is it not what I think it is?
Probably not.
So I should just throw some letters out there and just hope.
I've already said too much, but yes, maybe do that.
Bipiosaurus.
Yes, or maybe Bipiosaurus. I'm gonna need an answer.
Okay, Bipaeosaurus.
So close. So close. It is Beipiaosaurus. Beipiao.
Hope everyone else is having a good time.
That one was really tough. You guys have both tied. Congratulations. That means you. Oh, wait, no, you got that wrong, Kristina. Sorry,
I lost.
Sarah won that game. I made that very hard for you because I don't want to make our guests hate us and never want to come back. That
You know I would come back no matter what.
Well done, Sarah.
So, Sarah, I mentioned before, when it comes to SciComm, I have a few like golden rules. One, don't assume people care. Be engaging and entertaining first. Second, I think you have to know who you're speaking to. People always say like, who's your audience? But also I think it's important to know that doesn't necessarily just mean like what age, it means what platform. Because obviously the way you're going to communicate on Twitter is very different than on Instagram or on a Zoom call. And I also think you need to remember like, what is your job? In that, what is your objective? As a science communicator on Twitter, or maybe not on Twitter, just in general, I think science communication, you get off a little more scot-free in that I think your first job is to get people excited about the topic, not necessarily to teach them a bunch of stuff. Like a science teacher, like Kristina, your job is literally to teach the science. But for me, a lot of the times, the first rule is to get people excited and engaged. So Sarah, I'm curious to know, like, to you, I know this is a huge question, what is good SciComm? Like, what is in your brain when you think about it and when you teach people and talk about what makes for good SciComm?
I think it depends on your goals. And so typically my big goal in science communication is making people feel like science is for them and that they're welcome in science and that they shouldn't be intimidated by science. And so I can approach that a lot of different ways by tagging in people who are going to do certain things better than me and appeal to people that I'm not going to appeal to. But generally speaking, I'm not trying to get you to like be able to spit back facts to me. I want you to just be like science, you know, just like happy about the stuff and feeling like you have a voice in science and feeling like you have a place within that community. And so I think while I don't like to define what's good science communication because there are so many ways to be good, there are a couple ways that are pretty reliably bad. And I think that what is bad is making people feel stupid when they're approaching science. I think that that's a surefire way to fail. I think making people think that scientists are all-knowing geniuses is another surefire way to be bad, in my opinion. I think you need to make people see that scientists are just people that are often really super into one thing. And so a lot of like, and I think this is also just like the education system, or at least in my experience, has failed in a lot of ways because like when I was going through grad school, people would say to me like, you sound like, not quite in these words, but basically giving me the vibe like, you sound like a working class girl from Philly trying to talk about science, and you need to use these like obtuse words that
like
that
obtuse
use. Yeah, like you know, we gotta like, you know, you gotta get classier in your communication. And I'm like, there's a time and a place for that, and I get frustrated by that. And kind of the classism that's baked into science is just so frustrating to me, and something that I've been pushing back against, whether I realized it or not, throughout my career. And so yeah, elitist nonsense has got to go when you're trying to communicate science.
You never seem to take yourself too seriously, which is great.
Correct.
You're a literal serious scientist, but that doesn't mean you have to communicate in that way. So you guys, we only have like 6 minutes left. So I'm going to put a pause on looking at the Paleo Art Gallery, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions and comments about science communication. So Kristina, can you hit us with some as we go through? We might go a little over today. I think this is an important conversation. So Kristina, hit us.
I got this question from Megan that I would like to address before I send it to you two. Megan asked, I'm curious about how you all would recommend engaging youth in science/STEM when they come from underprivileged or disadvantaged communities where they may not get opportunities to do things like take field trips to museums. So my program at AMNH that I did grad school through to get my teaching certification was designed to address exactly that. So I teach in a high needs school. All the graduates from my program do for several years after. And museums have programs like that, like AMNH has Urban Advantage and others that are not just bringing kids into museums, but going into the classrooms themselves. So my dream future is one in which there are more very intentional connections between informal spaces like museums and formal classes.
That sounds a lot like our program, the Movable Museum, right? We go to a school, we go in the classroom, do a little primer, and then they come out and actually do the science on the truck.
So how else might that look in the future?
Yeah. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that we sometimes forget that working in and with museums is that sometimes the museum itself can seem intimidating, which sucks. Partially, you know, and it's not really people who work in the museum's fault that the history of museums is what it is. And so I think sometimes to break out of the folks that are already going to come to you is you going to them. And so that's another thing that I think is something that I really value and really try to prioritize is like finding ways to reach people where they already are instead of being like, we have this awesome program, come to us, much like that bus was doing. That's awesome. But I think a lot of times, like, we try to think about how we can be in places that aren't schools as well. Like, let's just go to the park and do some pop-up science there. And also thinking about like who you are tagging in to represent your science broadly. So like maybe two white people that are hanging out together, like maybe me and Dustin don't go to somewhere in Philly for a given event. Maybe we tag in my buddy Karina and say, yo, you take this one, and finding ways to help facilitate that. Because, one person is not going to be the right person to do everything. You got to take advantage of the full scientific community that we have to reach people in different ways.
Speaking of, you just mentioned Karina.
Yeah.
Can we put her handle in the chat box? I think she's a phenomenal, you're right, a great example of a great science communicator. Another one that I love, while we're just naming science communicators we like, is Jason Ward, the bird nerd. And I bring this up because, again, Friday night, 9 p.m. at Caveat, we're doing birds versus fish, but it's feathers versus scales. And you're going to hear some wild arguments for either side. And then your vote actually determines the winner. I will put that in the chat box. Kristina, do you have any favorite science communicators?
Oh boy. I'm on the spot now. I was just reading questions.
I know, it's tough. You can ask us a question first and then think about it if you want.
Okay. I can also add that we're putting together a resource sheet that we're going to give out to people on Friday. I can just drop a bunch of handles in there too. Ready for a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to summarize a group of questions I've been getting. So a lot of people are wondering how to break in to SciComm, who enjoy doing it, but are asking about certain limitations. There are a couple of people, somebody is like, my degrees are not in science, or I don't have a PhD, or I am still a student, etc. So what advice, thoughts do you have on people kind of trying to get started?
I think it's important to play around with your voice, with the spaces that are available, because a lot of science communication, you're just doing it. You don't need to show someone your degree to do science communication.
You don't have to have the degree.
You don't need it, to do it really, really effectively. And so maybe you perceive that other scientists aren't going to view you as being as reputable without that degree, and that may be possible. But at the end of the day, other scientists are not your audience.
And they're doing a different thing too.
They're doing a different thing.
They are doing a different thing than you are doing. My advice is always you just don't overthink it at the beginning, just do it. You are what you repeatedly do. And this Dino 101 is a great example. We had an idea and now we're just trying this and we're trying different things. And the more you do it, the more confident you're going to get. And you're, like you said, Sarah, you're going to figure out what your voice is, right? And I think that will quell the imposter anxiety a lot. And remember that your voice is unique and different. I don't think I would be able to do the science communication that I do or have the voice I do had I actually gone through grad school in paleontology. I'd be like, I couldn't see the forest from the trees. I think I have a unique voice because I love this stuff, but I haven't been like born and bred in that high level paleontology academia. And that just brings up the saying from Allie Ward, who is another great science communicator. Check out the Ologies podcast if you have not, that what makes you unique is what makes you irreplaceable. So do you and figure out what you love doing and then just keep doing it. You're going to mess up. I have made so many mistakes in so many different platforms, but you just keep doing it and you get better and better at what you're doing.
As long as you're listening and getting better, like particularly when it comes to like equity and diversity and all that, like there's a lot of things that you can really screw up big time. And so listening on that front in particular is really important. But as long as you're not hurting anybody or spouting off actively incorrect information, you practicing, even if it doesn't get a lot of likes, not a lot of engagement, like you practicing is so valuable. And so just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the best advice I've ever gotten is from Dustin, which is, it doesn't matter if anybody's ever going to see it or pay you for it. If you are doing SciComm, you are a science communicator. So yeah, like Sarah said, even if it's not getting likes, even if it's not selling tickets, do it, consume it, and reach out. Do meet your idols, because that's why I'm here right now, because I like swallowed my pride and said, hey, I don't know anything, but I like what you're doing and I want to be involved.
I think that's a really good point. Like if you see someone that you think could help you, like maybe there's someone who has the audience that you wish you could break into, don't be afraid to like just talk to them. Like a lot of times science communicators are super willing to boost up other voices, because we personally, I think that the more science communicators we have, the better we're going to be, because the more options people will have to choose from. Like I don't think that just like me and Dustin should be the only ones out there like communicating about squid and dinosaurs. Like no way. Like I want more people participating. And so if someone comes to me and says, hey Sarah, I'm getting started, I want to communicate about squid, like I always retweet them. I want other things out there. And so this is not a zero-sum game. No. When other science communicators do well, I do well, Dustin does well, we all do well, because our collective goal is getting a science literate public and a public that's interested and feeling comfortable in science. And the more people we have trying, the more people we reach, the better we do. Yeah. And so if you have somebody who pushes back and says like, I don't want to help you, I'm not allowed to curse, but I would not value that person's opinion, because they're not really trying to like make us a stronger community.
Just real quick, I don't know how long this is going to go before it cuts us off. So just if the meeting suddenly ends, sorry. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the mailbag.
So I have to go to a parent-teacher conference now.
Okay.
I love this. I'm connected with several of you on social media. If you want to keep talking about it, boop, boop, boop me.
Booper, her name is @GustinBoots
on Twitter, and I'm Mucho_Gustovich on Instagram.
Cool. Bye, Kristina. I'll see you tomorrow soon. We'll see. I want to reemphasize something that both of you guys just said, which is like, you just have to do it, and that a rising tide lifts all ships. The more people that are doing this type of thing, the more opportunities there are. And that's exactly what happened with me. I just started doing it, and now I'm getting offers and gigs to do stuff like write a dinosaur book, do the Atlas Obscura trip, do versus stuff. And this is all just because we started doing it and it became a thing. So you're not going to get paid at first at all, but the more you do it, the more weird opportunities that come from angles you never even saw. And that's part of the fun, is like, I don't really know what's going to happen next. I'm working on a dinosaur TV show, which is basically like Crocodile Hunter meets Man versus Wild, where we're going out into the wild environs, and I'm like stalking a certain species, and then all of a sudden we find it and it's CGI'd in the actual dinosaur. Whether or not this becomes a TV show that gets bought, who knows? But like, these are the weird opportunities that come about because you're out there, you're being your authentic self, and you're trying. So just keep doing you, keep being who you are, and keep making a loud voice in SciComm, because other people see that and they're going to amplify and lift you up, because this really is a really great community. And honestly, that is my only goal. I obviously want to have a platform that is as large as possible to share my love for science and nature and dinosaurs. But like, ultimately, I want to have a platform that's large enough where I can hire a bunch of other people who I think are doing great work. And so we can all do great work together to get more people to love science. Full stop. Sarah, it is 1:04. Do you have any last comments before we bounce out of here?
there are some ways that you can get paid early on. Look for opportunities in society. If you're a scientist and a grad student, societies that you're a part of will often have pots of money for you to support your science communication work, because we've realized that not everybody can afford to do stuff for free all the time. And so the American Society for Cell Biology is really awesome about this, and a number of other societies are too. I just happen to be a cell biologist, so I know about them. And yeah, do your best, communicate, collaborate. We're all here to make each other stronger.
And you're gonna fail, just FYI.
Oh, yeah.
I guess this will be the last thing I'll say. You're gonna fail, but like that means you're trying something. There is no failure, only feedback. There is no failure, only feedback. You're only gonna get better. And that's what the scientific endeavor is all about. Trying new stuff, learning more about the world around us, getting better, and navigating our own existence. All right, we are just about done for today. Thank you guys so much. If you want to support this endeavor, you can Venmo me, Dustin-Growick on Venmo, or dgrowick at dgrowick@gmail.com. It's my email address if you want to go through PayPal. Also, please check out Skype a Scientist. The link is in the chat. Probably my favorite scientific nonprofit ever. Yes, it is here. So yes, it 100% is. Again, tomorrow we're going to do a mailbag. Tomorrow's our second to last day. It's 49 straight days. Tomorrow we're going to talk all about the stuff that we haven't talked about that you guys want to bring up. Topics, different dinosaurs, questions, whatever. So we have a whole list of those. That is tomorrow. But for now, I don't care if you're dipping your toes into SciComm or reaching into your pocket to get some loose change to donate to the Skype a Scientist Patreon. There we go. Never stop digging. Thank you guys so much. Sarah, you know I love you. Thank you for being here. I love all of you guys. I also love dinosaurs. Have a great Wednesday. Bye, everyone.